Okay, how you doing, Amanda? I've got your work up right here. I'm just trying to see if we can get it into full. And okay, I've read your rationale, and the first thing I want to say is this, and I hope you understand this, is that I know we talked about you doing some of your game stuff, but here's the thing. And if we take a look at the assignment requirements, it says you want to decide on three different topics, and one of the reasons behind this is that you want to use three different topics, and the reason being is that so that you can really get an opportunity to do research in three different, completely unrelated areas. In this situation, it looks like you're going to be doing research in gaming. So unfortunately, what happens is when you put all of your research in one genre, you start picking up different kind of trends, typographic and layout trends that happen to be specific to that genre that don't really necessarily equate to good typographic practice. I hope what I just said makes sense. Because it's really important. So the reason we look at three completely different layouts is so that we can see, okay, so in gaming, they're doing this, okay, and then over here in news editorial, they're doing this, and then over in sports, they're doing this. So you can see three completely different approaches to layout and typography, so that you realize that there's different ways of presenting things so you don't get corralled into using one specific style. Hope that makes sense. So, the sketches themselves and the written rationale is pretty good. Although I would have liked to have seen you set this up. I always tell students it's a good idea to assume your viewer has no idea what you're talking about. So you kind of have to set up everything. Just assume that you're showing it to a complete stranger. And that we didn't read about this last week and we have no prior knowledge of what's going on. So that ensures that your presentations are complete and that the communicated value there is sound. The idea there being ready to prepare for your student portfolio when that time comes. So, okay, so No Man's By, this is a really good concept, and the thing I'm seeing here is that your sketch is really super light. If, at the very least, I put this in Photoshop, do a levels adjustment layer so that, presentation wise, we can see what we're looking at. The spread would be right here. So you've got type coming almost right to the spread. All right. I think you're mistaken on one thing here. And I think that you're showing, you're looking at these sketches as to show intent of concept. And that's great because you're doing so. The one thing I think you're missing, though, is these sketches are to show intent and layout and typography as well. So you really have to do things like make your headlines and your subheads really show intent. Are they going to be serif? Are they going to be sans serif? If so, if they're going to be serif, is it going to be an Egyptian block? What's it going to be? You have to show that in your sketches. I don't think you've done that here. You really want to show layout too. So right now I'm seeing everything is just being pushed to the center of the composition. So you've got everything forced in the center, which is kind of making this thing look like it's going to break in the middle. Like a truck, like a big truck trailer, a semi-trailer. It has everything stacked in the middle. And that's a good way to look at it too. Not evenly distributed. The type, again, you want to show intent with your type, so we don't see any demarcation of new paragraphs here or any indents or anything other than just where the type is going to go. Okay, and I think that's the mistake. This one's a little bit more detailed, at least in the image. You're showing some pretty good intent. This looks like it's going to be a decorative typeface. And then you have all these little pictures here. So the one thing I'm not seeing in this layout here is typographic hierarchy. You've got so many things here that are at play, just kind of saying, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. And then subsequently, your type's over here going, hey, wait a second, what about me? No one's looking at me. So that needs to be developed, that area right there. Again, show intent. Is that going to be a decorative typeface? Is that going to be a sans serif, a serif? Show intent between your subheads and your headlines. And really show some detail. You don't have to show specific detail in the entire layout, but definitely in the subheads and the heads. And this one just kind of, honestly, I'm a little bit lost here as to what this layout is. It's more of an illustration. I mean, you got this little box of type up here. So that's not really showing us anything. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. I'd like to see you just really take these sketches a step further. and really show what you plan on doing with typography and layout. Okay. One of the things I would like you to do is start considering the underlying grid and how you can use that to create harmony in your pages. And that's in this week's lecture. So you'll want to take a look at that. Okay. So, all right. Very good. Thanks very much. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thanks.